The Resistance was a small military force compared to others in Star Wars history. Founded by Leia Organa to combat the increasing threat of the First Order, it used a variety of ships in its navy for combat and transport purposes. Let's go through every spacecraft today that we know of to date through The Last Jedi. First, we have the MC-80 Star Cruiser. This one should be familiar to most as it was greatly used by the New Republic and Rebel Alliance prior to the Resistance. One ship, the Echo of Hope, is mentioned in canon as being part of the Resistance Navy. A similar model, the MC-80A, which boasts my favorite capital ship, the Home One, was also used in some capacity by the Resistance, serving as Leia's office at one point in time, and where Poe was also convinced to join the Resistance. Another Mon Calamari model, the MC-85 Star Cruiser, was used by the Resistance and the New Republic. The Raddus, an MC-85 as seen in The Last Jedi, was the flagship of the Resistance. It was one of the last ships built before the signing of the Military Disarmament Act by the Galactic Empire and New Republic. The Free Virgila class bunkerbuster was a type of corvette model constructed by the Corellian Engineering Corporation. The Resistance used the bunkerbuster Ninka, commanded by Vice Admiral Holdo. The Ninka served as an escort for the Resistance flagship, the Raddus, during the attack on the Resistance fleet, where it was destroyed when it ran out of fuel and fell into range of the pursuing First Order. Hammerhead Corvette. One Hammerhead was part of the Resistance Navy, the Sturdic Star. It was used during the mission to Tal commanded by Captain Hoth. This reference is not entirely canon, so I'm going to put an asterisk by it, but it is highly probable that this is canon. Even though the ship name is revealed in LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens, multiple canon materials such as the Phantom Limb and Poe Dameron's flight log confirm those missions were true and Tal and Captain Hoth were accurate. The MG-100 Star Fortress SF-17 was a heavy bomber used by the New Republic during the late stages of the Galactic Civil War. With the creation of the Resistance around 28 years after the Battle of Yavin, several Star Fortresses found their way into the Navy and were absorbed into Cobalt and Crimson squadrons. We see them on screen in The Last Jedi bomb the First Order Dreadnought. The Resistance used a YT-1300 light freighter, the Millennium Falcon, on a number of occasions in just a small time of being part of the actual Resistance. The Nebulon Sea Escort Frigate. These frigates were originally built for the New Republic, however at least one, the vessel Anodyne, has been decommissioned as salvage and was reconfigured as a medical frigate for the Resistance. It was destroyed when it ran out of fuel and fell into range of the pursuing Supremacy. Vakbior class cargo frigates. One ship, the Vigil, was used by pirates until it was captured by the Resistance. It became part of the Resistance fleet under the command of Vice Admiral Jadis. It was destroyed by a barrage of fire from First Order starships in The Last Jedi. GR-75 medium transports. The Resistance had a few ancient GR-75s at its disposal, but it definitely preferred the U-55s for being much simpler to maintain. The Resistance transport was cobbled together by Resistance techs from parts with different purposes and origins. We first see them on screen in The Force Awakens. Resistance transport pods were a customized model of two-person light shuttles constructed from the cockpit of a B-Wing by the Resistance. The pods were originally constructed to be grafted to passenger modules and used troop transports by the Resistance. But they also had hyperdrive so they could be used on their own. During the attack on the Resistance fleet by the First Order in The Last Jedi, we see Rose and Finn utilize this transport. The U-55 Orbital Load Lifter. The Resistance used these load lifters to evacuate the base on Dakar. During the attack on the Resistance fleet, the transports were used to evacuate the ships that ran out of fuel. 30 of the U-55s were used to evacuate the Raddus, but only 6 made it to Crate. They were then abandoned on the planet as the remaining survivors fled aboard the Millennium Falcon. The BTL-S3 was a variant of the BTL-Y-wing starfighter line. These craft were renowned for their toughness in the Galactic Civil War. The Resistance operated at least one such craft for armed reconnaissance missions around 34 years after the Battle of Yavin. At that time, it was the Resistance's only two-seat starfighter, although it was soon destroyed during the mission to Spolix. RZ-1 A-Wing Interceptor. We know at least one of this model was used during its time as a pilot for the Alliance to restore the Republic, and later the Resistance. The Duros, Dulot, Lempar used an RZ-1 A-Wing as his mode of transportation. RZ-2 A-Wing Starfighter. By the time the second generation was used by the Resistance during their war with the First Order, it was already decades old. With the New Republic cutting A-Wing production to a minimum, the Resistance acquired several fighters to be used for everything from reconnaissance patrols to bomber escorts. T-70 X-Wing Fighter. Owing to its prevalent use in local planetary defense forces and how cheap it was to appropriate, it would see extensive use within the Resistance. Additional craft were actually donated by sympathizing senators within the Senate. Poe Dameron would become famous for his own T-70 X-Wing codenamed Black 1. The T-85 X-Wing, while newer than the T-70s, they were not the dominant fighter of the Resistance. Rapier Squadron was a T-85 X-Wing starfighter squadron that served as part of the New Republic Starfleet and then actually transferred to the Resistance and was based on the refitted MC-80 Echo of Hope. We learned this in the book Before the Awakening. Those were all the main space-worthy ships used by the Resistance so far to date. I can throw a few honorable mentions, aka stolen ships, that the Resistance used, such as the First Order TIE Fighter and the Z-Class light shuttle that Finn had a part in stealing on both occasions, first in The Force Awakens and then in The Last Jedi respectively. So, if you want to count those, it'd be technical. Anyways, I'm sure there will be many more variations as new systems in the Star Wars universe join the Resistance cause in the upcoming films and books. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and thanks for watching Star Wars Lore.